So at the end of the summer, last summer, my wife and I were kind of looking at our money stuff, and she'd been working during the summer, and I'd been home with Fiona most of the summer because I'm a teacher. And we were talking about our financial situation going into the fall, because I was going to be going, back to teaching, and she was going to be reducing her hours a little bit. And we looked at all our money and we're like, yeah, everything just makes it. We don't have any extra, but everything's cool. And she still had one more paycheck to receive. And we both were sitting there looking at that, and we thought, first thought was, wow, we'll put that in savings. That'll be so cool to have that in there, and we'll use it when we need it, And it was funny because we both at the same time had this really strong feeling that we were supposed to give that money to something. And it was kind of funny because neither one of us really questioned it, which is kind of surprising looking back, but neither one of us did. We're like, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. And so we went looking, and we kind of had a lot of fun looking for like what projects to give this to. And it was a fairly significant amount of money because it was like 2 weeks pay for her working full time. And so we found some cool projects to give it to, and we were trying to figure out, where God wanted us to do it, and we prayed about it, and He provided some great opportunities for that. And then as we were going on through the fall, things seemed okay. We didn't have a lot of extra, but things seemed to be making it. But as we were approaching like the holidays, we usually go down to see my parents at the holidays, and so we were starting to try to plan for that. And we'd had a few unforeseen expenses for things, some stuff with the house and some stuff with the car, all the stuff that usually happens. And we're kind of like, yeah, I don't know how this is exactly going to work. And so we were kind of waiting and praying about it. And I don't know that either of us ever actually said it, but we probably were both kind of thinking, I wonder why God has to give that money away, because it would have been nice to have, And so I got my last paycheck before Christmas, and I thought, this is going to be good. Oh, maybe it'll be enough. I kind of figured out what I expected it to be. And then we got it, and it was $300 less than what I expected. And I'm like, oh man, like, what's going on? And Kaylin was cleaning the house just like the next day. And she calls me on the phone, and she's like, I just found like $150 in gift cards, like in the couch. And she's like, what are those from? And, sometimes I get like gifts from, parents or students or whatever. And so there was something from years ago, and they were like 2 or 3 years old. And she said, they're probably not worth anything. And I said, well, let's check. It ended up being like over $100 worth of gift cards. And then just a couple days later, we get this letter from the doctor and they said, well, we figured your insurance information wrong, and we overcharged you by $300. And so we're sending you a check for $300. I'm like, that ever happens, And we're like, okay, what's going on, And then the last day of work before Christmas break, my boss walks into my room, and he's like, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your work. My daughter's in your class, and I just really appreciate what you've done. And he gives me this big gift card to Flatbread. And I'm like, wow. And it was one of those experiences where we're just like, God really isn't that concerned about how He's going to provide money. He can just do it whenever He needs to and how He needs to. And so it just reminded us to spend less energy worrying about it and more energy just listening for what God wants us to do.